We're back, but today we're doing a completely different idea where I'm doing Jiu Jitsu in the ocean.
Yes, sir!
The rules for this competition are very simple. First to 5 wins, and the winner of the whole tournament wins $100. You get a point either by submitting them, tossing them into the water first, or drowning them. And for the first match today, we have the Latino Heat versus Carson.
Let's go!
Carson starts off hype as can be, but the Latino Heat has no time for it.
That's 1 point for Hector, 1 point!
As much as Carson would love to show off his jiu-jitsu skills, this water mat was going to make it tough. Drowning is the most dangerous submission, and that's Carson's goal as he drives Hector right off the mat into the water to score his own point and tie it up. We talk about all the time how leverage is important, and Hector shows off why he goes underneath Carson so he can toss him off the mat to get another point on the scoreboard. Hector had the lead, but it didn't take Carson too long to bring it back as he got 2 sweeps into the water, bringing the score to 3-2. Some chaos erupts because Carson comes charging in and Hector pulls guard. Distracted by me calling him out for pulling guard, Hector gives up his back to Carson, who immediately starts working on the choke. And while it looked like Hector was off, he still had a little bit of his body on the mat, pulled Carson back in, and scored it for himself.
Does that count? I was still on! If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
We'll go 3-3. We'll go.
Yeah! I got one!
Now after Hector robbed Carson at that point, it did not take him long at all before he engaged and we saw some actual jiu-jitsu. Carson tried to do his favorite move, the hip bump triangle, but Hector had other plans for him. He stayed low, and even when Carson was looking for a shoulder clamp, he found the perfect opportunity to drown Carson by tossing him into the water. It was time for fight or flight as Carson was sitting on match point and Hector was about to move to the second round. But then he decided to gamble everything as he jumped up in the air and Carson completely manhandled him, throwing him into the water and tying the score at 4-4. At this point, Hector had swallowed more salty substance than an OnlyFans model and he was having a tough time getting up for the final round. Like a shark, Carson could smell blood as Hector was getting weaker and he lunged in at him, easily went by Hector's frame so he could start working in the back, chopped out his base and started putting his face in the mat which is full of water so he could drown him, and then when Hector tried to get back up, Carson sunk in the rear naked choke and won the round.
Moves on!
Round 2 was quickly underway as we had Zach going up against Ryan. Thanks to both these guys going in round 2, they understood the game plan and it was a lot more wrestling than it was jiu-jitsu. Having said that, this round will have some strong jiu-jitsu exchanges between the two of them. But like a real animal, Ryan goes out there to assert his dominance using only guerrilla tactics, which consisted of pushing, muscle, and more pushing to score the first point and do his best Conor McGregor impression. Zach, not wanting to go down like a beta, comes in charging this time, taking the center of the mat until Ryan pushes him over and he has to pull guard or get thrown. Zach is drowning in the water, so he takes an opportunity to try and escape, but Ryan takes the back, sinks in a choke, and gets the tap underwater. Despite being down 2, Zach was able to lock up an over-under so he could do a lat throw. Both men fell off, but Zach landed on top and initiated, so he gave the point to him.
I landed on bottom.
It is way more tiring than you would think to try and balance on this mat, but we finally got to see some jiu-jitsu.
Butterfly, butterfly. Get the underhook, get the underhook, get the underhook. Elevate, elevate, elevate. Take a lock, take a lock. Go, use your inside hook. Right foot on the foot, go. Hey! He's greased.
With Zach scoring a lot of points, Ryan had to bring this one back. They were both battling for upper body control, but Ryan's underhook allowed him to push Zach over. And it looks like for a second, Zach had an armbar, but the water was coming onto the mat, drowning him at the same time, so he couldn't stay on his back for too long. Ryan counterattacked with a leg entanglement shootout, putting Zach in a lot of pressure. Ryan ended up losing the knee line, so he came on top, and Zach was still stuck on bottom in an awkward position, so Ryan tossed him off the mat. With the score tied at 3-3, Ryan was pushing in hard to Zach. Zach tried to be a wall, but Ryan ended up pushing him over, took mount, and once Zach was able to find his way out the back door, Ryan threw in a triangle with both of them off the mat. So we reset them.
3, 2, 1, go! Ryan, grab your fin. I need you to grab your fin. That's locked.
Ryan had a beautiful submission to get his 4th point, then had an easy pushover to get his last point. But it wouldn't be a good tournament if I wasn't in it, so I was up next against Austin.
I'm only gonna shoot low singles on Tyler. He's just gonna get guillotined.
Austin had an interesting plan to only shoot on me, and it looked like this.
Oh! The shots are not hitting.
But this wasn't going to be a free win for me. I pushed a little bit too hard into him, and he threw me over the mat, scoring for himself. Then he got another one after some exchanges.
Wanna see a nasty lag drop?
Austin, you gotta. Oh! Beat the knee. Beat the knee. Come up. Nice.
Push. Kick him off. Kick him off.
He tried again to shoot on me, which also didn't work.
Come up.
And then I did the dirtiest move possible.
Whizzer kick.
Take him back. You're right there. Lift him up.
And on match point, this was Austin's game plan.
Good match. Tyler moves on to the next round.
So maybe it wasn't the strongest game plan, but now it's time to see between Ryan and Carson who would challenge me for the championship.
Carson, who beat the Latino Heat, and Ryan, who beat Zach. Let's see who can move on to challenge me.
The round starts with these two, and Carson quickly realizes he should be lifting weights instead of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Ryan completely shoves him off the mat, and he didn't even break a sweat. Round 2 wasn't much better for Carson as he tried to do some knee wrestling, but instead he got overhooked, whizzer kicked off the mat, and he lost again. Then he tried the exact same strategy, but with a different result. And unfortunately, Ryan didn't like that too much. It wasn't all the way until round 5 until we actually saw some Jiu Jitsu. Carson was in butterfly guard, also controlling the wrist, attempting to elevate Ryan to the water, but Ryan stayed on the mat. Ryan pulled a 200 IQ move by scooping up the guillotine and getting the submission over Carson off the mat. Then in the most anticlimactic way possible, Ryan sat in Carson's guard for a little while, attempted another guillotine, and when he got tired of it, he just shoved him in the water to become the final challenger to take on me. Both Ryan and I start standing for the wrestling, looking for the inside ties, knowing this would be a grueling battle. But I ended up lowering my level so I could get a quick grab over his leg, then I threw him off the mat for the first point. But unfortunately, the second round didn't play out the same way.
Oh shit. Elevated kick. Triangle's there. Oh, shit. I think that's a tap, baby.
Did he tap?
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Not a good start for me getting RNC'd off the mat, and here's the third point.
Throw. Oh my God.
Now I had a big comeback I had to do, but it wasn't going to work out the way as I dove forward with my head, and I got caught in my own trap.
Guillotine, the guillotine. Oh my God. Tyler, guillotine.
Getting caught in my own move was the end for me. I got a few points back, but it didn't seem to matter. Tossing Ryan into the water wasn't going to bring my mojo back, and when the score was tied at 3-3, this is how it played out.
You gotta get lower, bro. He's gotta. That's 5, baby. Ryan takes it all.
Congrats to Ryan, the first winner of my water tournament series. So after doing the entire tournament in the water, the winner today was Ryan. He ended up choking me out on the raft, and I have to say goodbye to my $100 of Tobago money.
Thank you, Tyler. Subscribe.
And don't forget that you can get gear from xmarshall.com using promotion code Tyler10 to save you extra money. Xmarshall is the reason I can do videos like this with their sponsors, so it helps me out if you go to their website, get gear that you want, and use my promotion code, and you'll also get better jiu-jitsu at the same time.